Throughout life, people are constantly sticking labels on us, telling us what we can and cannot become. And sometimes this is good. People speak faith into us, they encourage us. But then there are times that people put negative labels on us. You cannot stop the negative comments. You can't prevent the negative labels, but you can choose to remove them. As a teenager, Walt Disney was told by his art instructor that he wasn't creative. He didn't have any imagination. Disney was smart enough to remove that label. He went on to do pretty good. Lucille Ball was told that she didn't have any acting skills. She should try a different profession. She removed that label, starred in I Love Lucy for many years. Winston Churchill failed the 6th grade. It's told he wasn't smart enough. He went on to become one of the greatest prime ministers that's ever lived. The common denominator in the success of these people is they chose to remove the negative labels. The same way today, people put labels on us. When my father went to be with the Lord in 1999, I stepped up to pastor the church. I had never ministered before. One Sunday after the service, I overheard 2 ladies talking in the lobby. One said, "He's not as good as his father." The other answered back, "Yes, I don't think the church is going to last." I was already insecure. I already felt unqualified, and boom, another negative label. Not good enough, not up to par, inferior. That's the way the enemy works. He would love to put labels on you to keep you from reaching your highest potential. He doesn't fight you for where you are. He fights you for where you're going. He knows God has amazing things in your future, so he'll try to discourage you, intimidate you, make you feel inferior. Words are like seeds. If you dwell on them long enough, they will take root and become what was said. And I tried to remove that negative label, but it wasn't easy. Those thoughts would play in my mind again and again. You're not good enough. You don't have what it takes. It was like trying to peel a bumper sticker off of a car that's been there a long time. And you peel it and it tears. You got to work and work. I fought those thoughts in my mind day after day. Finally, I removed that negative label and I put some new labels on. I can do all things through Christ. I am strong in the Lord. I am anointed. Here's my point. If I had made the mistake of wearing that negative label, I don't believe I would be standing here today. Wrong labels can keep you from your destiny. Don't go the next 20 years allowing one negative comment to hold you back. You are not who people say you are who God says you are. People will label you not good enough, too slow, too old, too many mistakes. God labels you strong, talented, valuable, more than a conqueror. Make sure that you're wearing the right labels. Many people don't know any better. They wear the negative labels like they're the truth. And they become so ingrained in their thinking, they end up becoming what people say they are instead of what God says that they are. Are there labels that are holding you back today? What a coach said, what a counselor said, even negative comments spoken by your parents. This is the time to remove every negative label. People don't determine your destiny, God does. The only power that label has over you is the power that you give it. If you will remove it, in other words, quit thinking about it, quit acting like it's the truth, then that label will have no effect on you. Those 2 ladies said the church wouldn't last. I didn't have the talent. They couldn't stop my destiny. They couldn't stop what God had already ordained. The only way they could have limited me is if I would have worn their negative label around. I know a gentleman, he told how he overheard his junior high teacher telling his mother how he was a slow learner. For 30 years, he wore that label around. Never had a good job, never had real success, just kind of floundered through life. And one day I told him what I'm telling you, you've got to remove that label. Your teacher may have been sincere. She may have made an assessment based on where you were at the time, but this is a new day. She didn't know what God put in you. If you're going to reach your highest potential, you got to say, no thanks. I am not wearing that slow learner label anymore. That may have been her opinion, but I have another opinion. It's from my Creator, and He says, I have the mind of Christ, that I am full of wisdom, that I can fulfill my destiny. Don't let negative labels hold you back. I talked to a high school student one time, and she was about to take her final exams, and she said, Joel, will you pray that God will help me to make C's on these tests? I said, why do we want to pray for C's and not A's? She said, oh no, Joel, my high school counselor told me I'm just a C student. She didn't know any better. Somebody stuck a label on her. She was wearing it around like it was the truth. Have you ever thought about the same God that can help you make a C can help you make an A? Why don't you remove that label? The same God that can help you get by in life can help you excel in life. The same God that can give you an apartment can give you a beautiful house. Are there labels that are holding you back? The label divorced, I'll never meet anyone new. The label overweight, I'll never get in shape. The label addicted, I'll never break these bad habits. Whatever label you're wearing, you're going to become what that label says. You're giving it the power. And this is why some people can't break an addiction. They're wearing that label, addict. The real battle is taking place in our mind. If you think you're an addict, you've already lost. You've got to change the label. God says you are free, you are clean, you are healthy, you are whole. Don't go the next 20 years wearing that addict label. Put some new labels on today. I had a young man tell me how he was the main drug dealer in his neighborhood. He was sincere. He wasn't proud of it. He said, Joel, I know this is not right. I don't like doing it, but it's the only thing that I'm good at. He was wearing that drug dealer label. It's all he thought he could do. I told him, if you can sell drugs, you can sell medical supplies. If you can sell drugs, you can sell stocks and bonds. Think about this. To sell drugs, you have to get the word out. That's advertising. You have to manage your inventory. That's administration. You have to take care of your clients. That's customer service. Don't sell yourself short. Remove any labels that are holding you back. Let me ask you, who told you all you can do is sell drugs? It's not the truth. Who told you all you can make in school are C's and not A's? A counselor? They didn't know what God put in you. Who told you you could never succeed? You'll not be as good as your father. Two ladies in the lobby, they don't determine your destiny. Who told you you'll never own a nice house? You'll never get married. You'll never accomplish your dreams. Those labels did not come from your Creator. Just because somebody spoke them over you doesn't mean it's the truth. You have the power to remove those negative labels. And some of you have been wearing them way too long. Things like, you'll never go to college. Nobody in your family has. Take that label off. You can be the first. You'll never get out of that neighborhood. All the odds are against you. That's what they told my father. He removed the label. God took him places that he never dreamed of. You'll never get well. That sickness is terminal. That's what they told my mother. She removed the label. 32 years later, she's still healthy, whole, strong. Friends, we serve a supernatural God. He can do what medicine cannot do. He's not limited by your education, your background, the family you come from. He's not moved by the things people have spoken over you. He's not up in heaven all frantic trying to figure out how to get you to your destiny. He knows the end from the beginning. He already has solutions to problems you've not even had. He's all powerful and all knowing. People may have tried to push you down, but if you'll just remove those labels and get in agreement with God, He'll push you up. He'll take you where you could not go on your own. You don't have to figure it all out. All God asks you to do is believe. When you believe, all things are possible. When you believe, doors will open that should have never opened. When you believe, God will take you from the back to the front. Don't let negative labels hold you down. People will tell you, you're all washed up. You've made too many mistakes. If you wear that label, it will keep you from the amazing future God has in store. God says, my mercy is bigger than any mistake. God says, I can still get you to your destiny. God says, I'll give you beauty for those ashes. I'll pay you back double for the unfair things that have happened. You wouldn't be alive unless God had another victory in your future. Why don't you take off the washed up label, take off the failure, guilty, condemned labels, and put on some new labels: redeemed, restored, forgiven, bright future, new beginning. People will tell you, you're too small, you're too quiet, you don't have a good personality, you come from the wrong family. Don't you dare go through life wearing those labels. You have been made in the image of Almighty God. God did not make any mistakes. You are the perfect size. You have the right personality, the right gifts, the right looks, the right skin color. It says in Psalms, you have been fearfully and wonderfully made. You are not an accident. God designed you precisely for the race that's laid out for you. Remove those labels: too big, too small, unattractive. Put on this new label: fearfully and wonderfully made. One label far too many people wear is the label average, ordinary. Joel, nothing special about me. I'm just one of the 6 billion people on the earth. Listen, you were never created to live an average life. You have seeds of greatness on the inside. You were created to be a history maker. You're not supposed to live and die and nobody even knew you were here. You're supposed to leave your mark on this generation. God has an assignment for you that nobody else can fulfill. God needs you. He needs your gifts, your smile, your love, your passion. You are a part of His divine plan. You have something to offer that nobody else can offer. Nobody has your exact personality, your exact looks. There is something unique about you. Don't wear that average label. If you think you're average, then you'll be average. If you think you're ordinary, then you'll live an ordinary, get by life and never do anything great. The truth is, there is nothing ordinary about you. You have the fingerprints of God all over you. The Creator of the universe breathed His life into you. He crowned you with His favor. You have royal blood flowing through your veins. You have a destiny to fulfill, something greater than you've ever even imagined. But if it's going to happen, if you're going to become all God's created you to be, one of the first things you got to do is take off the average label, take off the ordinary label, put on these new labels: masterpiece, valuable, one of a kind. This is what David did when the prophet Samuel came to anoint one of his father's sons as the next king of Israel. David's father, Jesse, didn't even bother to bring David in from the shepherd's fields where he was taking care of the sheep. Jesse thought, I know it's not David. He's too small, too young, not that talented, not as smart as his brothers. David had all these negative labels put on him by his own father. Samuel looked at the other 7 sons, said, not this one, not this one, not this one. Finally ran out. Said to Jesse, do you have any other sons? It's none of these. Jesse said, yeah, my youngest son David is out in the shepherd's fields, but I know it's not him. Friends, God doesn't label the way people label. People look on the outside, God looks on the heart. God knows what you're capable of. God can see the seeds of greatness that He's placed in you. It's so easy to let what someone has spoken over us to keep us from really believing in ourselves. David walked in. Samuel took one look at him and he said, he's the one. That's the next king of Israel. Right there, David had to make that decision that I'm asking you to make. He had to remove the negative labels. He had heard them 1,000 times. Too small, too young, you don't have what it takes. What's interesting is David's brothers, even though they saw Samuel anoint David as the next king, they still tried to stick their negative labels on him. When David was out where the army gathered, his oldest brother Eliab said, "David, what are you doing out here? And with whom have you left those few sheep you're supposed to be taking care of?" What was Eliab doing? Sticking a label on him. Inferior, not good enough, intimidated. David could have said, "Yeah, right. What was I thinking?" David could have accepted that label and let it hold him back. But this time, David had a different attitude. He said, "Eliab, what you say about me doesn't change what God said about me. You're still labeling me weak, defeated, inferior. You don't realize I've gotten rid of those labels, and the creator of the universe, the God who breathed life into me, put some new labels on me. They say giant killer, more than a conqueror, destined for greatness, King of Israel." Now, you may have had negative things spoken over you, even by people that should have been encouraging you. I love what Isaiah said, "No weapon formed against you will ever prosper, but every tongue raised in judgment." That means every negative label you will show to be in the wrong. Notice, God's not going to do it. You have to show it to be in the wrong. In other words, you have to remove the negative label. Nothing that was spoken over you has to define you, even if it was from people who raised you. Nothing that's happened in your past has to keep you from your destiny, even if you've made mistakes or gone through unfair situations. You can show it to be in the wrong by shaking off the self-pity and moving forward with your life. Will you dare do like David and remove the negative labels? Quit dwelling on what your mama said, what a jealous sister said, what a cranky coworker said, what a cynical neighbor said. You are not who people say you are. You are who God says you are. They cannot stop your destiny. Most of the things we struggle with didn't start with us. They've been passed down in our family line. You don't get to choose your battles. You didn't get to pick what you'll have to deal with. Just as you inherit your parents' DNA, which determines your eye color and how tall you'll be, what kind of hair you'll have, you also inherit attitudes, habits, and behaviors from those that have gone before you. Research shows how depression can be passed down. Anger, low self-esteem, addictions. It was in your bloodline and it showed up with you. The scripture calls this an iniquity. That means a hereditary weakness. I've seen families that can't get along. Parents arguing, cousins upset, siblings bitter, grandparents at odds. That's a spirit of strife, a spirit of division that keeps getting passed down. I knew this young man growing up. His father was indicted for fraud and went to prison. This young man told me how his grandfather was the same way. He was so upset with them, couldn't understand why they'd make poor choices, why they'd cheat people. 20 years later, a friend called and said, "Did you hear about so-and-so? He's in trouble for fraud." He didn't choose it, it chose him. It will continue to go from generation to generation until someone rises up and says, "I'm going to break this negative cycle." It didn't start with you. The good news is it can end with you. You can be the one that affects generations to come. You can make it easier on your children and grandchildren. And it's good to look back at your family history and see, what are we good at? What do we excel in? And what are the weaknesses? Where do I see a pattern of mediocrity, compromise, and failure? When you understand those same spirits are coming after you, then you can be on guard. You can be prepared. Say, "No thanks, depression. You're not welcome here. No thanks, I'm not giving in to this addiction, this compromise. No thanks, I'm not living inferior, insecure, angry, bitter." Don't let that iniquity continue on. It's been in your family line, but the reason you're hearing this is so that you can put an end to it. I heard this phrase, "It ran in my family until it ran into me." You're the difference maker. You're called to set a new standard. You're the exception. Everyone in your family was negative except you. Everyone was broke except you. Everyone addicted except you. Everyone bitter except you. I am looking at exceptional people. People that stand out. People that defy the odds. People that break barriers. Numbers chapter 25, the Israelites had gotten off course. This false prophet named Balaam encouraged the Midianite women to lure the Israelites into worshiping their idols. They fell right into that trap. They began feasting with the Midianites, worshiping the god Baal. There were all kinds of immorality and compromise going on, and God was very displeased. This plague broke out, and 24,000 Israelites were killed. Looked like that would continue on. Moses warned the people that they needed to change, but they weren't listening. One of the Israelites took a Midianite woman into his tent in defiance of what Moses said. Everyone was standing around watching, wondering what was going to happen. Then a young man named Phinehas rose up, went into the tent, and put an end to it. The scripture says Phinehas had the courage to step in, and the plague was stopped. All this compromising, mediocrity, and one person stepped in and said, I'm going to honor God. I'm going to live with integrity. I'm going to do the right thing. And the plague ended. You can stop the plague in your family. You can be the Phinehas. There may be negative baggage, people compromising, addictions, mediocrity. It just takes one Phinehas, one man, one woman to break the cycle of defeat. My prayer is God give us Phineases. Give us people who will rise up, not just accept the dysfunction, not just live with the defeat, but will have the courage to make a difference, to put an end to what's limiting us. Phinehas had to kill the compromise, kill the disrespect, kill the worshiping of idols. It was drastic, it was extreme, but what you don't kill will end up killing you. There are negative things in our family line that we have to say, you cannot live in my life. It's symbolic. You have to kill the anger, kill the addiction, kill the unforgiveness. You can stop the plague, but as long as you allow these things to live, it's going to kill your dreams, kill your peace, kill your freedom, kill your purpose. Now be a Phinehas. Have the courage to step up. Our attitude should be, this may have been passed down, but it's not going to get past me. This is where it ends. This is where the depression stops. This is where the addiction, the low self-esteem, the poverty mindset comes to an end. Don't live with the dysfunction, break the dysfunction. Well, nobody in my family is successful. We just barely get by. That's what was passed down to you. That's the way it's been, but you're a Phinehas. You're putting an end to that. You're called to rise higher. You're called to put a stop to that plague. Well, Joel, everyone in my family struggles with addictions. We all compromise. We all have anger issues. That would be a good excuse to stay that way, if not for one thing. You're a Phinehas. You have the courage to step in. God has destined you to break the negative cycle, to set your family on a new course, to reach levels that you've never seen. Now, don't miss your chance. This is a window of opportunity, a door that will not always be open. It may be difficult, but God won't ask you to do something and not give you the grace to do it. Your children are counting on you. Your great-grandchildren, their destinies hang in the balance. Will they deal with the same things you do? Or will you put an end to it? Will you be the one to break that negative cycle and stop the plague? I already know the answer. I'm looking at Phineases. I'm looking at barrier breakers. I'm looking at people who are called, equipped, and anointed. The power in you is greater than any power that's trying to stop you. You're going to feel a new sense of courage. God's favor is going to be on you in a greater way. Things you've struggled with in the past are not going to be a struggle anymore. Chains that have held you back are being broken. Strongholds that have kept you captive are coming down. God's going to do what you can't do on your own. When you stand for righteousness, when you refuse to compromise, When you say, no, I'm not hanging around these same friends that are holding me back. When you break out of that negative mindset and believe bigger, pray bolder, dream larger, you're going to see the hand of God turn things around. Break addictions, bring you out of dysfunction, promote you to levels that you never thought possible. Think about all these people living with the plague, and one man rose up and did something about it. One man broke that cycle that had killed 24,000 people. How many people are going to live better off because you had the courage to step up? How many of your relatives will look back and say, wow, thank God for Phineas. Thank God for Julie. Thank God for Uncle Robert. Thank God for Marcella. Now we're free. Now we're blessed. Now we're confident. Now we're successful. Because you're a Phineas, because you killed what could have killed you, you're impacting generations to come. You're one of those heroes of faith. Well, Joel, I don't think you're talking about me. Man, I'm not Phineas. I still struggle with an addiction. I still have a problem with my temper. I'm still dealing with poverty and lack. No, let me encourage you. Phineas is in you. The barrier breaker is in you. The same power that raised Christ from the dead lives on the inside of you. And yes, there's a battle in your bloodline. The good news is you're going to win. That Phineas spirit is going to rise up in a new way. You're going to put a stop to what's stopping you. Those weaknesses that have been passed down are just what they're called. They're weak. They're no match for you. A friend of mine was raised in a good family. When he was a toddler, his father in his early 20s got a job at a large transportation company. He was at an entry-level position out washing the vehicles. He's a hard worker, always on time, went the extra mile. Those were the good things that had been passed down. We all have these positive attributes in our family line, people that pass down courage, talent, good attitudes. The key is to take the positive, build on the good things, and leave the negative behind. This man's parents and grandparents, they were good people, but they struggled with alcohol. Over time, they both ended up becoming alcoholics. That was the environment he was raised in. Well, he received promotion after promotion, from out washing the cars to supervising the department, then head of operations. 10 years later, he was in senior management. Everything was going great. His family was blessed. But in this new position, the people he worked with would go out several times a week at lunch and drink. They called it liquid lunch. Now, he never touched alcohol, knowing what his parents and grandparents struggled with, but he didn't want to seem odd, like he was too square, so he started drinking. Just a few times a week, no big deal. He didn't realize that alcohol gene was lying dormant in his DNA. He was predisposed to alcoholism. That was passed down to him. He made the mistake of waking up that gene. He started drinking more and more. The scripture says, don't give the enemy a foothold. Don't open the door. If you crack it a little, he's going to push and push. He'd love for all that negative baggage to go from generation to generation. Before long, it started affecting this father. He started showing up late for work, started missing appointments. He got to where some days he wouldn't come home from work, wasn't with the family anymore. Got so bad, he lost his job, started living in shelters. My friend told me how they were the perfect family, living the American dream, and then alcoholism destroyed their life. My friend is in the entertainment industry now, and he's very successful. He said, Joel, I don't touch alcohol, not because of religious reasons, but I know I'm predisposed to alcoholism. When you look back in your family line and you see things that have caused heartache and pain, things that have kept people from their potential, it's important to recognize that those genes are passed down. You're predisposed to that. But here's the beauty. That doesn't mean it's going to automatically happen. You get to choose whether you activate that gene or whether you leave it lying dormant. His father activated it and it ruined his life. His son chose to leave it dormant, and he's living a blessed, free, favor-filled life. Alcoholism ran in his family until it ran into him. He was a Phineas. He had the courage to step up and put an end to it. His attitude was, this alcoholism didn't start with me, but it's going to stop with me. I'm the difference maker. I know some of you are thinking, well, Joel, it's too late for me. I've already activated that gene. No, you can deactivate it. You have the power to turn it off. You can be the one to break the negative cycle. It's easy to come up with a reason why we can't accomplish a dream, why we can't be happy, why we can't overcome a problem. Excuses are a dime a dozen. We think, I've got an excuse to be sour. Traffic was bad. My boss was rude. A coworker left me out. I've got an excuse to be offended. These people hurt me. They didn't keep their word. They betrayed me. Or I've got an excuse to settle where I am. I had a bad childhood. I lost a loved one, went through a breakup. Oh, as long as you're making excuses, you will justify staying where you are. Excuses give us permission to settle for less than God's best. And you can find an excuse about anything. When my nephew Matthew was about 4 years old, he was out walking through the woods with my father down this trail. And they came upon this big granddaddy long-legged spider on the ground. Matt was about to stomp it with his shoe. My father said, Matt, don't do that. We're out here where he lives. He didn't do anything wrong. Let's leave him alone. Matt contemplated it for a little while. He wasn't fully convinced, but he finally turned and walked off. He got about 15 steps away. He turned around, ran back, and smashed that spider as hard as he could with his foot. My dad said, Matt, why'd you do that? He looked up and said, Granddaddy, the devil made me do it. It's easy to find an excuse. I can't lose this weight. My metabolism is too slow. One man said, my metabolism is not slow, it's in a coma. I can't break this addiction. Everybody in my family has it. It's in my genes. It's been passed down to me. Yes, it may be in your genes, but the good news is you can turn off those genes. You have the power to overcome it, but the only way it's going to happen is if you get rid of the excuses. As long as you're blaming the past, blaming a neighbor, blaming the traffic, the weather, then you're going to get stuck. I'm asking you to throw out the excuses. It may be a valid excuse. It wasn't fair. You went through a disappointment, a sickness, a betrayal, but you have to draw the line in the sand and say, I refuse to live my life with a chip on my shoulder, angry, upset, with no passion. If you'll get rid of the excuses, God will be your vindicator. God will pay you back for the unfair things. This is your year to step up to a new level, to see God's favor in a new way. Now have this attitude, no more excuses. No excuses to be unhappy. This day is a gift from God. I'm going to enjoy it in spite of what's going on. No excuses to settle for mediocrity, give up on my dreams. I'm pursuing my goals, overcoming obstacles, breaking these bad habits. Or how about no excuses to go around feeling inferior? I know who I am, a child of the Most High God. Well, Joel, I don't think I could accomplish my goals. I'm not that talented. I don't really have the connections. I didn't get what my friends got. They have the looks, the personality, the good breaks. Here's the key. If you didn't get it, then you don't need it. You have exactly what you need. If you needed what they had, God would have given it to you. Now quit comparing yourself and start running your own race. You are anointed to be you. Nobody can beat you at being you. You are fully loaded, totally equipped, uniquely designed for the race that's been laid out for you. Now get rid of those excuses. I'm too tall, too short, too old, wrong nationality. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. Step up to who you were created to be. When my father went to be with the Lord, I knew I was supposed to step up and pastor the church, but all these excuses flooded my mind. I don't have the training. I've never ministered before. My personality is too laid back. My voice is not strong enough. If I would have held on to those excuses, I wouldn't be standing here today. Anytime God is about to take you to a new level, there will be excuses you have to first get rid of. Before you see promotion, you have to get rid of that excuse, I'm not qualified. I'm not that talented. I can't do that. Before you break the addiction, get rid of the excuse, I've had it too long. I'm not disciplined enough. Before you meet the person of your dreams, you have to get rid of the excuse, I'm not that attractive. I don't have a good personality. Friends, God wants to do something new in your life. He wants to take you to a new level of your destiny. Are you allowing excuses to hold you back? When I stepped up and started ministering, I would write out all my sermons by hand. I would have 20 pages of notes scribbled here and there all over the desk. On Saturday, I would try to put them all together and hope that somehow it made sense. And a couple of months in, Victoria came and said, Joel, you're wasting so much time writing this all out by hand. You need to get a computer and start typing it. That way you can cut and paste, move it around, it'd be so much easier. Well, I had taken typing in high school, but I hadn't typed in 20 years. And I reached into my excuse bag and I pulled a couple out. I said, Victoria, I can't do that. I don't know how to type. I was saying, in effect, I'm limited. I'm not up to par. I can't learn anything new. She looked at me and said, Joel, you are 36 years old. You can do anything you put your mind to. We're going to get a computer and you're going to start typing out these messages. She didn't ask me, she told me. All I could say was, yes, ma'am. But sometimes you need someone to speak the truth in love to you. Maybe you're coasting like I was, thinking that you can't step up. You've reached your limits. No, you have gifts and talents on the inside that you've not tapped into. I'm telling you, like Victoria told me, no ifs, ands, or buts. It's time to lose the excuse bag, step up to a new level, start learning something new, start training for that next program, start taking on more responsibility. Or how about start writing that book? Start writing those songs. Start developing that business plan. You have potential lying dormant on the inside right now. It's seeds of greatness. And the enemy would love to use excuses to keep it from ever coming out. You got to stir up what God put on the inside. Quit telling yourself what you can't do, how you don't have the discipline, the training, the education. You have everything you need. You are well able. God has already put it in you. And I started typing my messages on the computer, and it was like night and day difference. A couple of weeks, it all came back. I remembered how to type, saved me hours every week. Since then, I've typed 7 books, hundreds of messages, and I'm so glad I had that idea. But you've heard that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But I've learned it depends on what kind of dog you have. If your dog thinks, I'm limited, I'm lacking, I can't learn anything new, then that dog will get stuck. But if you have a dog that says, I'm well able, I'm equipped, empowered, nothing's too hard for me, that dog will learn new tricks. My message, make sure you're the right kind of dog. Are you stuck doing something the old-fashioned way because, like I did, you think you don't have the talent, the know-how, the ability to step into the new? No, quit discounting yourself. You have what you need to live in this generation. Quit shrinking back. Don't let those excuses convince you that you're lacking. You're too old, too young, not up to speed, not up to par. God put in you what you need for this day. This is your time to shine. Get rid of those limiting excuses and stay open for new ideas, new ways to do things. The thing I love about my mom, she's 81 years old. She sends us kids group text all through the day. Most of them make sense. But I love the fact that she's not intimidated to learn something new. I'm just praying she doesn't discover Instagram. But seriously, when we keep making excuses, they become a crutch. That way we can justify why we're not where we're supposed to be. Well, they hurt me. They did me wrong. Now I have to use this self-pity crutch to hobble along. I've got a reason to be this way. Or my friend is more talented. They got the looks, the personality, so I've got to use this inferior crutch, this not up to par crutch. Or I made some mistakes in life, didn't raise my kids right, blew my relationship. That's why I'm using this regret crutch, this not up to par crutch. Every time you make an excuse, it's slowing you down. It's causing you to hobble. And the tragedy is some people spend their whole life on crutches. Don't let that be you. If you'll get rid of the excuses, believe that you have what it takes, trust God to make your wrongs right, then instead of hobbling, barely getting by, you'll keep stepping into new levels of your destiny. It's what a young lady did named Wilma. She was born prematurely back in the 1940s, the 20th of 22 children. When she was 4 years old, she developed polio in her left leg. It shriveled up so badly, the doctors told her parents she would probably never walk again. When other kids were out playing and having fun, she was at home, not able to walk. She spent 2 years bedridden. She could have thought, hey, this is my lot in life. I've had a bad break, got a good reason to settle where I am. No, Wilma had this no excuses mentality. A caring doctor made her a special leg brace and a shoe. Against all odds, she learned how to walk. At 11 years of age, without her parents knowing it, she started taking off the brace, going out and playing with the other kids. She developed a great passion for running. Some days she'd go out and run for hours at a time. One day, a coach from Tennessee State University noticed how much she loved to run and how fast she was. He invited her to try out for the team. She not only made that team, but at 16 years old, she qualified for the 1956 Olympics, went on to win a bronze medal. 4 years later, in the 1960 Olympics, Wilma Rudolph won 3 gold medals, went on to become a national hero. That's what happens when you don't let self-pity become a crutch. You don't sit around thinking about what you didn't get, how you don't measure up. You'll beat the odds. God will get you to where you're supposed to be. We've all had bad breaks, things we don't understand. But if that was going to keep you from your destiny, God would have never permitted it. Don't let it become a crutch. Don't use it as an excuse to settle where you are. Do like Wilma, stir up what God's put on the inside. You'll go places that you never dreamed. In the scripture, there was a man that had been blind since his birth. Some people asked Jesus, why was he born this way? Whose fault was it, his or his parents? They wanted somebody to blame, an excuse, a reason. Jesus said to them, it's nobody's fault. He was born this way so that the goodness of God might be displayed in his life. Jesus touched his eyes and instantly he could see. When you have a bad break, a disadvantage, don't get stuck looking for someone or something to blame. You're not always going to understand why things happen in life. But if you'll stay in faith, it won't work against you, it will work for you. God will use it to show out in your life.